All right, guys, we are on journal page, what page are we on? We are on 280, I believe. Yeah, 280. And it is symmetry in quilting pattern. So for those of you who don't know what a quilt is a tradition that's used by many cultures, and they're made from little square patches that are often in a particular pattern. So those patterns can have different colors, shapes, some have different textures, and some of the patterns have names drawn from everyday lives of the people who created them. So actually, Miss Mold's fiance creates quilts for every new baby that's born into his family. So if it's a girl, sometimes it'll have butterflies on it, or if it's a boy, it could have baseball or fire trucks, or if they don't know what it's going to be yet, it could have teddy bears and things like that. So it has all different patterns, and they're little squares that she sews together to make a blanket or a quilt. So it says for each pattern below, use a straight edge, which you can use a ruler or anything with a straight edge at your house, and draw all the lines of symmetry and record the lines of symmetry for each little square. So let's look at the example, the pinwheel pattern. So for this first shape, it had 4 lines of symmetry. It had one vertically, horizontally, and diagonally. Now you'll notice this shape doesn't have any color on it. That means all of it is white. Now, your lines of symmetry will be different depending on what color or pattern your quilt square is in. And you can see that with the example they have for the second one. So they now have 2 lines of symmetry. Now notice, it's the same square, just one has shading and one doesn't. One has color and one doesn't. So this has a pattern. Now, if I did a diagonal line, the section here is white and light gray. But the section that's the mirror image over here is all dark gray. That is not the same. So once you add color, it changes how many lines of symmetry. So you'll notice for the next one, it's only up and down. Okay? If it was horizontal, this has dark, but this is white. So it is not symmetrical. So this only has 1 line of symmetry. And if you go here, you'll notice within this square, there's 4 little squares that all have a different pattern. Therefore, there's no line of symmetry because none of these are the same if you were to fold them. So you can see how the change in how you color in each square is going to be different, and it's going to change the line of symmetry. So let's look at the bow tie pattern. So this first one has 4 lines of symmetry. And you'll notice it has no color and all the pattern is the same. So it has one vertically, horizontally, and it has 2 diagonal lines of symmetry. So you would do the lines with hopefully with a ruler so you can do them a little better than Miss Mold is doing them. And you would write 4 for 4 lines of symmetry. So as you notice now, there's a pattern. Each little square has a pattern on it. So it's going to change how many lines of symmetry we have. So I can't fold it in half because if I folded it in half, this is white and this is dark. That just wouldn't work. The only line of symmetry that this shape has is diagonally. If we fold it on if we folded these corners so they touch like a piece of paper, that would be the only line of symmetry that this shape has. So you would do the diagonal line and you would put a 1. Okay, let's go back to this shape. As you can see, the pattern is changing a little bit. But since this is white and this is white, I know I can do it diagonally. And if I could do it diagonally this way, I most likely can do it diagonally this way. So this square has 2 lines of symmetry. Same thing for the next one. So you have to make sure you're really looking at the shaded parts in order to tell if they're mirror images. Remember, a mirror is, when I look in the mirror, I see exactly what I look like. Okay, so it should be exactly the same. So this has 2. Okay, let's go down to the next kind of pattern. So the Ohio Star quilt pattern. So this first shape, no color. So I know that it's going to have 4 lines of symmetry. This next shape added a little bit of color, but it's all similar. So if I folded it the hot dog way, so vertically, this side is the same as this side. And if I fold it like a hamburger this way, this side is the same as this side. And I could also fold it diagonally with the way that the pattern goes. So this shape has four lines of symmetry. The next one. Now, this pattern in all of these little squares is all different. So by just looking at it, I can play around, and if I go here, I can tell that this side is not a mirror image of this side, so I can't do that. Let's try it this way. Well, I see that this is dark and this is white, so I can't do that either. Let's see about diagonally. Well, this is dark here and this is dark here. I'm light here, this is dark here, this is white here, so I can't do that way either. So this has 0 lines of symmetry. Okay, the next one, same thing. I can't do it up and down because these aren't the same. This is light and this is dark. Same thing for horizontal. This is dark and this is light. Let's check diagonal. Nope, see, this is different than this. So this has 0 lines of symmetry. Okay, the pineapple log cabin. So if there's no color and the pattern looks the same, it's going to have 4 lines of symmetry, just like in the other examples. Now, the pattern looks the same on all quadrants. So if I were to split this up like this, quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4 all look the same. So when that happens, you usually have 4 lines of symmetry. So this checks, that's the same. This checks, this creates a mirror image, diagonal, and diagonal. So this has 4 lines of symmetry. Same thing for this next one. I can see that if I imagine these 4 quadrants, a quadrant just means this 4 section. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are all the same pattern and same shade. So this also has 4 lines, oops, that's not centered, of symmetry. Okay. Oh, I did not do. I forgot my 4. Okay. Now this one is different because you notice right here is light, but here is white. So I can't do it horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. So right off the bat, I can tell just from those little marks that this is going to have 0 lines of symmetry. Okay, so that's it for this journal page. If you look at the next journal page, you guys are creating your own patterns and making sure they have certain lines of symmetry. So I'm going to let you guys do that. It would be hard for me to do it with you because everybody's is different. So I'm going to do the next set of journal pages, which is going over multi-step number stories.